Now, yesterday was an amazing day. When I went to my YouTube subscription feed, every single one of the essay channels I follow were making essays called One Marvelous Scene. So I looked around a little nervous, thinking, there's no way nobody's tackled this scene yet. But I was incredibly amazed to see no one had tackled this scene yet. So here I am. Here's my version. And make sure to check out the playlist. The link is in the description below. There you can see some amazing essay channels talking about this. But here in my channel, as I'm in the middle of celebrating Marvel Month, this seemed like the perfect moment to talk about the Misfits becoming the Guardians. If there's ever been a movie, a big blockbuster in the past decade that spoke to both my inner child and my adult insecurities, then that would definitely be Guardians of the Galaxy. This is a movie I've seen 6 times, while it was playing in theaters, of course, and about 10 times since it was released in DVD and Blu-ray. This film, this ridiculous movie about an immature, egotistical protagonist accompanied by a wrestler, a ninja, a talking raccoon, and a walking tree, is the single most important MCU film. For me. I saw this film while I was abroad studying in the US. Oh, yeah, I'm from Chile, by the way. I live here. This is what my city looks like. For all of you who thought, much like my friends, that Chile was a place full of Native Americans and wagons being pulled by horses. I mean, sure, we do have that, but we also have McDonald's and Starbucks and traffic and buildings and noise and too many people. And when I was 19, I had the amazing opportunity to go study filmmaking in Los Angeles, California. So I was 19 and living completely alone in a foreign country where I spoke the language and felt at home in, but I still had this deeper sense of loneliness. Even if things seemed very familiar, nothing really was, and most importantly, I had a hard time finding a good set of friends. It felt like no one really understood what it was like, and how could they? Not only was I the only Chilean 19-year-old living alone going to that school, but I was always laughing and going along for the ride. I kept up this facade that I was unfazed by all these changes and that I was really enjoying this. But deep down, I knew what was really going on. Guardians of the Galaxy resonated with me at a fundamental part of my experience there. Sometime before the film came out, I started bonding with a new group of friends, some acting students, and the dynamic of the group felt really interesting. It's like we had each other's backs and wanted to help each other succeed. We all had some pretty deep-seated issues, and in a way, we all felt that was the one place where we didn't have to feel self-conscious about them, since everyone had their thing. But we also never talked about them, and the loneliness still lingered, even if we were having genuine fun all together. Then one night, all 5 of us went for the first time to watch Guardians of the Galaxy. None of us knew what to expect, but we all loved Marvel films, so we went there with an open mind. Needless to say, the film was an experience like no other, from the opening shot till the very post-credit scene. And not in the adrenaline-pumping way most action movies try to achieve but fail miserably most times, but in the way that it took me for a roller coaster ride full of empathy and introspection. I'm sorry if this is getting too cheesy, everyone, but bear with me. Now, I have to be honest and tell you all that this film brought me to tears not once, but 3 times. And I'm still... Wait, let me check. Yep, I'm still the same confident man I was before admitting this. 2 out of those 3 scenes might make great essays by themselves, so I really hope someone else tackles them, or else I'll have to double or even triple down on this. But there is one scene in this film that made me tear up for reasons I really wasn't expecting. And that scene I call the Misfits becoming the Guardians. I love this scene for so many reasons that I'm really going to struggle in order to make this essay not 3 hours long. So here we go. First of all, let's look at the scene and let's place it into the structure of the film. What is this scene supposed to be doing? Well, this scene fits into a point Blake Snyder refers to in his screenwriting book Save the Cat as the break into 3 moment, meaning the break into the 3rd act or the climactic battle to stop Ronan the Accuser from devastating Xandar with the Power Stone in one swift move. Our characters are also coming out of a really big defeat, when Dave Bautista's brilliant interpretation of a man blinded by his desire for revenge calls Ronan to a battle without any of the team being aware of it. And of course, compromising the mission, losing the stone they so wanted to protect, and almost getting Peter Quill and Gamora dead along the way. According to Blake Snyder, during a break into 3, the characters are supposed to find their one secret weapon in order to defeat the bad guy in this last attempt. So if you look here, the Guardians are at their lowest point, and they're being forced to come up with a strategy to avoid the unavoidable. Morale is low within the team, and they're all resorting to their one defense mechanism, being selfish to survive. But Peter Quill is the only person of the group, oddly enough, who is capable to grow up for a second and ask for help.
I need your help.
This seems stupid, but is the one time Peter actually allows himself to be fragile in some way to the eyes of these outcasts. Up till now, Peter has only joked, fought, and done every single one of his actions pursuing selling the stone and making some good money. Which is why there is no need for anything other than the cool, funny space adventurer. Up till now, he's only been Star-Lord. But at this point, when he's about to lose everything, he finally decides to shed the armor, and he becomes Peter Quill. Going as far as giving a speech, which even talking about gets me emotional every time. He tells all of them how much each and every one has lost.
Folks who have lost stuff. And we have, man, we have, all of us. Our homes. Our families. Normal lives.
It was at this point that I felt the film and the characters embracing me as a person in a dark theater and saying, I get it. I know how it feels. And I know my friend sitting beside me felt the same way. Peter goes on to say that they're being given an opportunity
to give a shit. For once. Not run away.
And as he ends his best attempt at motivating the team, realizing it's never going to happen, Gamora stands up.
I will be grateful to die among my friends.
A warrior trained by Thanos himself, a woman who had any prospect of a normal life taken from her and was transformed into a cold, calculating assassin, all of a sudden puts aside all logic and decides to be the first of them to claim everyone as their friends, showing to herself and everyone around her that she's more than what they made her into, making herself truly vulnerable for the first time and finally becoming Gamora. This makes Drax stand up and bring the last emotional impact for a truly tear-jerking scene. The man who just betrayed the trust of all the team because he could not see past his anger stands up to not only acknowledge Gamora's gesture of standing up, but to verbally acknowledge Peter's growth and worth.
You are an honorable man, Quill. I will fight beside you.
And then he claims, with just simply the perfect delivery,
And in the end, see my wife and daughter again.
at this point, you simply have no heart if this scene does not even tickle your emotions. It is so character-driven and so powerful that I even get happy emotional once Groot stands up to say his famous line in support of the group,
I am Groot.
while also finally becoming Groot. And then everyone looks at Rocket, a creature who in his own words never asked to be made, decides to put aside his existentialism in order to help out his friends, finally becoming Rocket. And you can tell that this is very difficult for him, not only because he chooses a completely nonsensical excuse to why he'll do it,
Oh, what the hell? I don't got that long a lifespan anyway.
but also immediately resorting to belittling them with the famous Marvel pathos trait of humor.
Now I'm standing. You all happy? We're all standing up now. Bunch of jackasses standing in a circle.
Which here is finally character-driven and completely justified. Also, I already cried, so I got my quote of emotion uninterrupted. And what did it give me? A moment when after the scene was done, all 5 of us friends in the audience leaned forward and smiled at each other with tears in our eyes. We then leaned back, enjoyed the rest of the movie, and we never talked about it again. It affected all of us. For a moment, we were all vulnerable, and we all knew what it really meant. In our own way, the Misfits had become true friends. Guardians of the Galaxy is a film that apparently is way more complex in its narrative and its themes, since it speaks to a lot of people. For example, my mom hates sci-fi movies, but she loves Guardians of the Galaxy, and she's seen it more than once. And I think that is a lovely testament to how the MCU has decided to tell stories about people before telling stories about plot lines. Whatever the future may hold for these characters and the MCU at large, I'll always applaud Marvel for these little moments, these quiet scenes that have the potential to speak the unspeakable between 5 friends who are finally vulnerable together. Marvel, thank you so much for these past 10 years of storytelling. And I'll definitely be seeing you in Endgame. Thank you very much for checking out that video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. This is kind of a different format for me. I've watched video essays my entire life, but I've never really had a real reason to make one. So this seemed like the perfect opportunity. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, please make sure to check out some other content on my channel. I do all sorts of videos. We're in the middle of Marvel month right now, so in case you missed last week's episode, you can check it out right here. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any other episodes of Marvel month. But up until next time, guys, bye-bye.